Joe, you record these in the background, right? Oh. So I am going to have to do another intro.
I'd like to point out that I am number one.
Shit.
I show us as live, but I show us choppy. Everybody but like you. Well, I lie. You're moving, and then you're moving, and then we're moving, and then you're moving, and then we're moving.
Remix. Once we go live, it's gonna be
Fine.
okay.
Oh, we're
Oh,
live.
great.
We're just discussing all this because, you know, it is a tabletop podcast, and
So here's what you need to know, guys. Nothing goes according to plan. This is
Murphy's
D&D.
Law.
This is role playing games. Aw.
Matt, did
Oh.
you see your title?
Say what?
Did you see your title?
I'm Maddie. Yeah.
Are we the only like? I'm not streaming this. I should be streaming this. Huh? Is this all 5 of us? Is us? Sweet.
Well, yeah, I've got one open and one over here. So
I pulled up on my phone just to look at it.
I should
Okay,
get a
well
real
then-
computer.
I
yeah,
can.
you should. Sea of
Yes,
Thieves.
Dad.
Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves with Kristen.
Ouch!
Sea of Thieves with Kristen.
I've never played. I need to play.
Yeah, you should.
Well, then buy a fucking computer
Or an Xbox.
or an Xbox. They're like $200.
Or an Xbox computer.
Or an
Yeah,
Xbox.
or one of
computer.
those.
It's my
Oh.
Xbox, and her name's Sony.
Well, buy Steve an Xbox. So I mean, Steve can play Sea of Thieves.
Look, honey, look what I bought you. Now get off.
Oh
I
my
need to play.
god.
It's
time to get. It's
My
time to
wife
get.
normally
time to
says,
get to-
"Look what I
time to
bought
get
you.
to
Now
Pirate-
get
time to
off."
get to Pirate Legend.
Okay. Okay. What the fuck are we doing? Oh, we're doing a podcast, aren't we? My bad.
Ladies and
Hold on.
gentlemen, welcome
Let me
to
let me
Degenerates with Dice.
scroll up here. I had in this chat somewhere about what the fuck we were talking about tonight.
um, we were talking about everything everywhere all at once.
I haven't seen that movie.
No. Just in general, the concept writ large of everything everywhere all at once.
Oh,
So,
I
we
found
each
it.
Pick a topic.
I found it. I believe we were talking about our fears the first time we ran a game. I know, Matt, that was like 80 years ago for you, but you're just going to have to remember
You
back.
Shut your mouth.
Really? Me? Shut my mouth? That's never fucking happened.
All right.
So, min maxing was something that was mentioned.
Right.
And I don't. What is the definition of min maxing? Because I've seen it recently, and I'm going. I get minimal and minimum and maximum. I get that part, but
Right.
what exactly is min maxing?
So min-maxing is something that nerds do because they don't have a creative bone in their body.
Oh, we're gonna have a debate tonight. We're gonna have a debate tonight.
Go ahead
So,
there, Mr. Professional
Well,
GM. What is
off,
the
definition?
definition?
The definition of min-maxing is setting your character up in a situation so that what they do well, they do super well, and the things that they don't really do or don't really care about are pushed to the side and basically dump statted. So, like, for example, the barbarian who is going to always knock down doors and always smash things open and always break things barehanded isn't really the talker of the group. So they're not going to put stats. There's a balanced character would have at least some conversation skills, whereas a min-maxer is going to be like, I'm going to put the absolute lowest amount required by the system into social skills and stats so that I can put everything else into the combat stats and the bashing doors open stats. They min-maxing characters tend to be one-hit wonders, glass cannons. Like they do one thing and they do one thing really well, but everything else they're just kind of garbage in. So as opposed to say a jack of all trades character that can kind of do a little bit of everything, but not nearly to the degree that somebody who has min-maxed off their character.
Hashtag board gang.
Hashtag bargaining.
So you typically with min-maxers, you get like, it's been my experience, feel free to chime in, but with min-maxers, you tend to get 2 or 3 different varieties. One, there's the guy that's got to win, which is like, I'm going to break down doors. That's what I want to do. I'm going to just create a character that breaks down doors. So that's your first character because he just has to win at the breaking down doors game, I guess. Then
Y'all are bad at that game.
Then you have the characters that are, you have people that like, they don't want to be a cleric that screws up healing rolls. So they stat their character in such a way that they don't mess up healing rolls. Or, they want to be reliable. It's not so much I want to be overpowered, it's I want to make sure I don't screw up. And then finally, there is there's what I like to call the lawyers with sniper rifles variety, wherein
I like one of those things.
a person
Lawyers?
well, here's the deal. A person will create a character that they want to play, but the nature of the world that the game master is running, or in the case of a LARP, the nature of the game that a troop is running together is like, well, I want to play this lawyer who has all these social connections, but if I don't build to be able to knock a person out with a sniper rifle in a single shot, I'm just going to get pasted the first time we go to combat. So they have a little bit of lawyering because because that's their concept, but then they like dump over into combat skills on the off chance that when a fight breaks out, they're going to be able to do something and survive. Those are typically the 3 I've seen. I don't know if anybody else has a different experience on another situation where a min-maxer will tend to show up.
I
So,
don't think
like
I've
I
ever,
said,
like, min-maxed.
min-maxing is for nerds who have not a creative bone in their body, just like the type of people that would play a barbarian in the first place.
Okay,
Rest
I
my
would like
case.
I would like to counterpoint that. Well, let me.
No,
let me
we're moving on.
table
Next topic
open to-
is
table open to
okay.
anybody
So,
else.
No, Noah's not taking any comments at this time. He will
Table-
not be
No.
touching comments.
hashtag bar gang,
Open the-
best gang. Sorry.
open-
Hashtag
open to
bargaining.
anybody. I mean, if your argument is so weak that you can't invite dissent to it, I mean, hey, it's whatever.
No,
I mean,
it's
if your
just
party
that-
is so lame that you can't invite people to it, it's whatever.
It's not that my argument's so weak. It's that Bard Gang Best Gang is so strong
Bargaining, best
that
gang.
we don't want to hurt y'all. We don't want to use vicious mockery in a way that would just absolutely have to make you use a death save.
Hey,
Hold on. Does it
You know
track
what?
that Vicious Mockery is my favorite?
I'm gonna min max to where I'm immune to psychic damage.
And in case
Fucking
you can't
cut,
tell,
man.
this is why Kristen hates me and Matt being at the same table.
So,
On 2 of my tables.
well,
2.
well, I guess that's the question to the table, to the proverbial this table, is
Yeah.
do you guys have an? I mean, I understand. Here's the deal. Like, I get. Well, let me ask this, Noah. It's nerds who have to play the system. Like, first off, let's pretend that we're playing in a game right now, and you get knocked to 0 hit points. How
Bards
much
don't do that.
how much non-stat role playing are you going to be doing at 0 hit points? I'm just putting that out there to the group.
At 0 hit points,
Yeah.
am I going to be doing? I'm going to be doing
Yeah.
a metric fuck ton because it's me, and I'm going to sell that shit on my way out to roll a new character.
But
But
then you're dead.
I see your
Ginger
do
ass.
point.
anything.
Yeah, no, I see your point.
So at
This
some
ginger
point,
ass has no soul hit die.
but ultimately we play ultimately all of these games are games that involve rules, so you have to use them at some point.
Wait,
No,
pause.
I-
Wait, new question. Hold on. No. New question.
Go.
Who the fuck plays by by rules on my table? Nobody.
Uh,
Yeah, okay,
I do.
Matthew plays by rules enough to get around the rules.
No, I play by the rules.
He
You
plays
are
by the rules. No. Okay, in Matt's defense,
you're lawful evil.
That is not, but that is playing by the rules.
That
But
is
that
playing
is
by
playing by the rules.
Technically
Lawful
correct
is lawful.
correct. Technically
But
correct
here's the
is
thing.
correct.
It's fair, it's fair, it's fair.
I do appreciate Matt's vast knowledge of the rules to be able to allow him to bend to the absolute maximum fucking tensile strength without
will-
breaking.
He
I
will
do
consume
appreciate
and
that.
consume rule books to yeah.
Yeah, no,
What?
that
Rule books.
What? Me, I'm like, oh, that's in the rule book? I guess someone knows that.
listen. My excuse is I can't
Please.
fucking read, so
Oh,
take that as what you will.
that's not the only thing you can't do, but it's
But
okay.
no,
Won't hold
Matt,
against you.
Wow.
I understand and I appreciate the min maxer, and it does have a fucking place.
but
but it's
can
just- To my experience, and this is just me, purely anecdotal, right?
Yeah.
Anybody who I've ever played with that min maxed a character is flat out just fucking boring. And I don't know if
Well-
it's the min maxers that I've played with or if that's just in general.
Wait, now is
but-
it
Why?
somebody that you played with that's
I've
so
played-
jaded and
There's
so
more
burned out on the
questions
system?
going on.
Sorry.
Hold on.
I mean, I've
I'm
played
just-
with people that were like good at min maxing. It depends on the system. Like Savage Worlds, people min max all the time, and it actually benefits it because they take a lot of disadvantages in order to make a stronger character through like race creation and stuff like that. So they make a much more interesting character, is what I've found.
Oh, but I've got you, and I can disprove your argument with exactly.
If you pull
one
out a
word.
rule book, I swear to God.
No, I can disprove Noah's argument with one word.
I was
Marty.
making an argument. I was
Fair.
giving you an
Because-
anecdote of experience, but go off.
For those of you for those of you who don't know, one of the games that we together play is a Fallout 2D20, or at least a Fallout that started with 2D20 and kind of modified the rules a little bit. But Marty was originally Marty is a ghoul that I played, and
Play-ish?
he's a by the numbers, high strength, all of the perks that let him bust armor because he can, and by definition he is a min-maxed character. Now he's a min-maxed character because I wanted to test a specific thing. I wanted to watch how the effect system worked in the Fallout RPG, but the character itself relies very little on it. The character itself carries himself independent of that particular mechanic until it's time to use that mechanic. So I can see your point that there is a difference, and this goes into the whole that first type, the guy that's got to win. You know what I'm saying? I can see a difference between somebody who min-maxes a character for a specific reason versus min-maxing a character just to be the one that wins, and that gets toxic.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's where I would
And-
say there's a difference there, and that's also a matter of making sure that the player is playing a character instead of playing a stat block.
Fair. Now,
And-
I have a question about something that you just said. Do you
Mhm.
just use my tables for research on how characters will play out?
Careful
It's
how
all
you answer this, Matt.
As a person that is a professional and permanent DM, yes. Because here's a secret, Gus, the Mr. Handy that I'm running right
Uh-huh.
now, is specifically so I told Kristen it's specifically so I can play with the robotics rules.
Yeah. No, I get it. I
That's why I
figured that's
picked
what it
that
was.
character. Now that being said, I think this is a good thing to do because I'm specifically playing with the mechanical robot rules, but I'm not going to put a character on a table unless there's a story to them or unless there's a
Right.
background.
So what you're
Um,
saying is that I'm such a good GM that I give you all the challenges you need to do what you need to do.
Sure.
Just as a shout out to Matt for this and to Hero Forge. This is Marty. Well, this was
Yup.
Marty before he went feral and glowing and got blown up.
This is where being a
We'll
min-maxer
get
is a
there.
bad thing. Well, no, ghouls are immune to radiation damage, and I was in the middle of a nuclear explosion, which is 100% radiation damage. So not only did I take 0 damage from the situation, but per the rules, you actually heal as a ghoul. So any damage that I had taken was completely eliminated when he fell.
Fucking
Now, there's
spoiler
the-
alert.
I'm
Right?
sorry.
We had plans. Me and you had plans, and you just ruined it all.
We still have plans.
Me and
I
Matt
didn't
had
ruin
plans.
anything.
What are you talking about, lady? We talk behind your back about character shit all the time.
I know you do. You talk about behind my back about everything.
So,
Nah, just
Do you have
the important shit.
so do we have anything
Hey.
else on?
If you're talking behind my back, that means you're in a good spot to kiss my ass.
So do we
Fucking
have
fair.
anything? Do we have anything else on the min-maxing
Well, like,
question?
Once again, I was just gonna say, min-maxers have their place, 100%. I'm not gonna question that. And I guess it's just the type of player that I am, where I would much rather, build a character that can react either way the dice roll out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's
So-
not necessarily more of
But
a
mid
like
maxers, like I think
a quote unquote balance,
Hmm.
but more
I
like
think-
I'm gonna put more into the actual character itself more than worry about if there's a door in front of me, it is getting kicked in without question, even if I roll a 2.
Okay.
Even if it's unlocked.
all right. So
Well, even if it's
I
unlocked.
think as a GM, I actually like it when they have massive flaws. Like that glass cannon can be really useful as a GM because it's like, that way they're guaranteed to fail outside of the one thing that they're good at it. So, I mean, like, as long as you kind of like push that weakness as much as you give them a chance to shine, you should be okay, in my opinion.
Yep.
I
that's like,
apologize in advance just because, hey guys, if you're watching, this is on Twitch's end, not on our end. Apparently, Twitch can't handle 5 cameras right now, so I apologize in advance. So,
Is it
Um,
Twitch or your connection? If it's your connection, I
it's-
can attempt to host the stream next week if you want.
you can attempt and see, but I mean,
Okay.
I have gigabit internet, and it's not.
Then it is
yeah.
Twitch and not
Yeah.
my connection.
Yeah.
So here's a perfect example. A perfect example that is in popular culture, I guess, is Grog
Classic.
Strongjaw in Critical Role. He is built like a brick shithouse, but he is utterly vulnerable to like will-based stuff. And so that's kind of feeding into what Joe's talking about like, yeah, he's, when Hulk smashes, Hulk gonna smash, but you throw a will save at him and he's just toast. Now, this brings me to another question though, like, because part of my personal definition of min-maxing is, or of not min-maxing rather, or well, part of my definition of min-maxing is not making a suboptimal choice. Like every decision you make is best in slot. That's the definition of a min-maxer.
Yeah.
So when I make a suboptimal choice, like I guess this might be a good go around the table question, but like, what is a suboptimal choice you've made on a character on purpose? Not just like, well, I guess I have to put a 13 in this stat, but like no, I'm gonna make freaking. I literally ran a LARP one time with a guy who he literally took culinary preparation with a specialization in fast food because his character had been like a Taco Bell employee before all of the story started. And it seemed like a completely useless waste of quite a lot of points until a fight broke out in a fast food restaurant and they didn't want anybody to come into the restaurant portion, so they had to keep serving shit through the drive-through so nobody noticed the fight happening inside. And then the character was like, "Yeah,
What a
who's a
weirdly
moron? Who's a
specific thing to
moron for
happen.
drive-through preparation now?"
What an
Well-
oddly specific thing.
It was a Vampire the Masquerade character, and we had to preserve the masquerade while two vampires were fighting inside. So we had to make sure everything looked fine and no humans caught onto it. So I guess that's a good question. Is like, what's a suboptimal choice that you've made on a character sheet?
Oh, I've made plenty. Most of my characters have at least one
All of them?
suboptimal thing. Yeah. I mean, like Eddie is not strong. He's not good at shooting. He was supposed to be good at speaking, but he's not good at
he's a
that.
He's not good at that
Terrible
either.
shot. He's
I
Well, I
mean,
mean,
he's
what-
missed
what's-
a rad roach at his feet.
yeah.
but what
I
I'm
mean,
saying, well, I guess the question is like, what is a choice you made on a character sheet that you intentionally made, and it wasn't the best choice for your concept? You know?
I mean, all of it. I mean, like, yeah, most of the time I don't. I mean, like, so for me, I guess I don't like the one trick pony, so I generally will have like I'd rather be like a jack of all trades to be a master of none, and instead of being like
That's
really
vanilla.
proficient in one thing, or if I'm really proficient in one thing, I'm not nearly as proficient as I should be, like Eddie with talking, you know what I mean? So like he has good charisma, but he doesn't have the best charisma. You know what I mean? So like, I could have
Right.
maxed out his charisma, but instead I was sort of like, I'll just make it decent, and then now I don't get any rolls, but
Lando got that charisma. Noah
Lando-
got that autisma though.
Who gave him a mic?
Joe, this is all Joe's fault.
Yeah, it is.
Joe said, "Hey, y'all want to do a podcast?" I went, "Yep."
Nope.
He didn't say no. It's all his fault.
There were no parameters at all.
Nope.
Just, hey, you want to get online and talk about nerd shit? Fuck yes.
Yo, absolutely I do. So let's see.
Give him
Suboptimal
a
choices
stage. That's all nobody
I
needs.
have made. Hold on. What
I
the
don't
fuck?
know. I tend to play pretty well-rounded
Sorry.
characters. Sorry.
Sorry, I just got a weird ass text that saying that apparently I just walked into the nursing home even though I left 4 hours ago. But
Congratulations.
yeah. Anyway, what was I saying?
Suboptimal choice.
Suboptimal choice. Thanks. I'm gonna change your name on my phone to my personal 5-hand. Suboptimal choice. I had one in my head. Oh yeah. My fighter, the first character I played before I knew anything about like actually playing a character, and somebody just handed me this sheet and said, "Here, this is your character." I decided at level 4 to take a magic initiate feat.
That's an awesome feat.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be an awesome feat if
On a
you were,
fighter?
any kind of spellcaster whatsoever with the
Not a
proper
fighter.
stats. But, when you're, I don't know, wisdom and intelligence stats are both dump stats at that point, not the
IRL.
best fucking choice. All right, bitch. Number 1, I got a degree.
Okay, antiperspirant is not a degree.
Right.
I don't use that. I use Old Spice anyway because your boy got swagger. Anyway,
Thank you for paying for my retirement fund there, buddy.
you're
Hashtag bargain.
welcome.
Is it the
Hashtag
Olden
bargain.
Spice?
It is the Old Spice swagger, and then my body shit in the shower is the
Your
what was
body
it called,
shit?
Joe? Kraken's Guard.
Kraken,
Bear
I don't
Wolf.
know. I don't work
Kraken
on Old
Guard?
That's the
Spice.
scent.
Alright, anyway.
Old Spice Kraken's Guard body wash. That's what I use.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Joe's employed by these people.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been
Don't
played
say
by
that out
them.
loud. We're
Our
we're bad
corporate
brands.
overlords. It's fine. Disney's gonna wind up buying them out next year anyway.
Hold
Yeah,
up.
they'll buy
Why
our
did you
podcast.
why did you take a magic feat as a fighter?
Because it's
Why
awesome.
not?
Because
Yeah.
it
Because you
kind
didn't know
of
any better?
So all right, time out. So that
Hold
was
on
like
for 1 second.
4
What is a magic feat?
magic
Matthew's gonna
initiate.
pull a book.
Matt, do you have the book handy so I don't butcher the fucking? Thank you, sir.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
Wait a second.
While I was looking that
And
up,
now-
just as a reference, I have 30 FPS leaving my PC, so we're like good. It's Twitch going into it, so
Okay.
it's either
Okay.
Twitch or it's
Hold,
Google
please.
Chrome.
Hold on, Matthew. Look at your
Mhm.
camera. I need you to be proud of me.
Yay!
Are
Have
we
you read
doing
it?
this?
I just gave mine away.
Thanks, Rain.
Hi,
Rain, love you.
Rain.
Every 4
Alright.
levels in Dungeons and Dragons, you can either increase your stats or you can take a feat. And feats allow you to bend the game in creative ways. Is the easiest way to put it.
Magic
Um,
as a fighter.
Well, it's not it's not magic as a fighter. It's you've picked up a couple of little things. So like for example, the magic initiate,
165.
168.
Oh, I'm not there yet.
Magic initiative is you pick a class, you pick a spellcasting class, you learn 2 cantrips of your choice from that class's spell list, and you choose 1 first level spell from that class's list. You can cast the spell once at its lowest level. You have to finish a long rest before you can cast it again this way. Your spellcasting ability depends on the class you choose, blah, 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 blah. So, what you would, the min-maxy way to deal with this would be to pick up a fighter and then take Magic Initiate as Bard, and then Vicious Mockery is a cantrip, right?
Yes.
I
Yes.
believe
Yeah.
it is, yeah.
So like Vicious
As many
Mockery
times as you want
and
it.
Vicious Mockery and Light are your cantrips, and then your first level is like, I don't know, whatever. And so you've got some magic that you can tinker around with, but you're not a full-blown spellcaster, and you're not blowing levels to like that's minimizing your combat output just because you wanted to do a couple of cool tricks, you know.
Uh-huh.
Hold, please. Vicious Mockery is my favorite cantrip ever, always.
Your mama, bam, ow.
I said what I said.
Yeah, but what you do is you take Warlock instead of Bard. Why would you pick?
Oh, see, it's funny you said
I've
that,
played a
Matt,
lot of
because that's
Warlocks.
what I took. I took Magic Initiate as a Warlock as a fucking fighter.
And it's freaking amazing.
Yeah,
But anyway.
not so much when you don't have the fucking stats to back it up.
In real life?
Yeah, because Noah took Eldritch Blast.
Okay.
And I believe, yeah, it was Eldritch Blast, Blade Ward, and then I believe my fucking level 1 spell was Comprehend Languages for some reason.
Oh well, that's stupid.
Yeah,
I mean,
that was
great.
definitely dumb. But it was one of those things where we were months into the campaign at that point, right? And I had figured it out, the game at that
Mhm.
point, and I was like, all right, look,
You had figured out the whole game at that point?
well, not the whole game, but I knew what I was fucking doing. I had figured
Yeah.
out, all that
It's
nonsense.
busy.
And yeah, and I was like, all right, look, my character is basically, a very, very cocky but not near as accurate Legolas, right?
Okay.
So I was like, let's see, what can I do to spice things up? Eldritch Blast, because that'll never fucking happen. But if it does, that would be
I'll be
fucking
ready.
hilarious. And I have to fucking tell you, I played the entirety of the rest of that fucking campaign going, this sounds like a good time for Eldritch Blast. And not one fucking time did it hit. Not one fucking time did the dice gods allow me to pull off the greatest fucking feat of the entire campaign. But it was still fucking hilarious.
Mhm.
So
Suboptimal.
that's my
choice.
suboptimal. Yeah, that's my suboptimal choice. But I did it for fucksies. As with everything that I do at a table. But that's beside the point.
So, let's see. What else did we want to talk about?
New GMs.
Ooh.
Okay, so I'm not looking for a new GM. I'm looking for an additional GM.
I was gonna get my feelings hurt.
I don't know which one of y'all tagged me at that.
That was.
I was like, no.
I was about to get my feelings real hurt had I any.
I'm so
Oh.
confused. That's what I thought.
Like soon as in like I'm
Tomorrow.
skipping shit.
Tomorrow's the best day. Just do it
Mhm.
tomorrow.
Do it tomorrow. Hold on.
Right
I'll
now.
send-
so many
Right
other
now.
ones.
Roll
Wait.
initiative.
Yeah,
Real
right
fast.
now. I'm rolling up a character sheet real quick. Hold on.
I played exactly 3 sessions, not 3 campaigns. 3 sessions.
I rolled a
and
20,
started
so
running my
we're
own
getting a
tables.
bard.
Always getting a bard. But I played 3 sessions before I started running my own tables. I suggest do it. Just jump in and do it if you're
Yeah,
gonna do it.
do it.
Well, okay, so I guess that. So I don't know.
If my kid can do it, I can do it. That's
Right.
If I
my-
can do it,
my-
you can do it. If Noah can do it, you can do it.
Here, I mean,
What the fuck is that supposed to mean? I'm a great fucking GM.
Wow.
Fly away.
Hey, Doggo, how you doing?
My puppy. Oh,
Oh, no, it's back.
Get out of here, Lucy. It's my attention. Yours.
All right.
sorry. I'll shut up. No, we can hear you,
All right.
Joe.
But no, my mic was off on the stream. All right. So what was I gonna say? So like, I mean, what would be like some good tips for a new GM? I think we kind of hit on the first episode, but what are some things that you're looking for, Jen? If you were like, what are things that are like burning questions for you as far as running a game?
Where do you start?
With the
Just-
role
Well,
you
playing?
have to just start. Like you have to just do
Yeah.
it.
I mean, have you ever told a story before?
Yes.
You're already halfway there.
There you go.
Yeah.
Have you ever watched
Like-
a movie or read a book?
Oh, there you go.
Do you have
Yeah,
children?
just
The other half.
steal it. Steal everything you have. Like if
You
in
ain't
doubt, just
plagiarizing,
take
You
yeah
ain't trying.
just
if in
take
doubt,
like
lie.
if you just take 2 stories that you like and then smash them together.
Yeah.
And then just
Seriously, like-
spice them up a little bit so it doesn't seem
Lie.
like blatantly obvious. Yeah.
Oh,
I think
fuck that. Make it obvious as fuck.
You mean I
Well-
can't do the D&D Mad Libs as a way to run my campaign? Because that does
You
sound like
can.
a lot of fun.
You can.
Absolutely.
If you
Why
do
not?
that, I'll play.
I
You
Okay.
once ran an entire campaign based off the back of an Elton John CD. Every session had something to do with the name of the song. Crocodile Rock was a very weird session.
Matt, I would like to play in this campaign. Please do it again.
Wait, I want to
I-
play this campaign. Shit.
I only it's one night only one. Anyway,
Hey, I
so I think the-
remember when rock was. Oh,
well, I think the biggest thing there's a couple of things because once
Board game.
huh. So
nothing. Chris and I are just board gang representing.
I
Always.
guess. Well, I think there's a couple of things. The storytelling thing, like we're storytelling creatures. Like we want to tell stories to each other and to other people and to the world. Why do you think Facebook is so freaking huge? It has nothing to do with sharing your deepest innermost soul. It's telling the story you want other people to know about you. Right? So
That's why I look smart online.
All right, Mad Libs will be here tomorrow.
Awesome.
Hell yeah, it will.
But I think that if I had to give advice to a new game master, the very first session, like you're
What'd you tell
learning,
me?
you're learning to run the game. Well, yeah, just brace yourself, hold your breath, and jump in. No,
That's kind of
well,
true though.
there's
I thought that was going.
yeah. Well, there's a couple of things. So like, for example, on the mechanics, I mean, the thing is, like I said, telling a story is simple. Everybody tells stories. And the more you read, the more you watch, the more you listen, the more you can pick up the tools that you're going to need to like really throw in a ringer on somebody.
Yeah.
So on the mechanical side, the first thing I would say is that every game system in existence has a core mechanic. Like in Dungeons and Dragons, it's roll a d20, add your modifiers. Usually the DC is 15, unless something weird comes up. And if anything is going on and you're not certain about what the rule says, then just use
Use
that
the
as a
core
tool.
mechanic.
Use that as a
Yeah.
guide. It's the core mechanic.
Lie.
Yeah.
It's the core mechanic for a reason.
Yeah, and it really
So-
that's really it. People think that you need to know all the special rules. It's like, no, if you know like the main 3 or 4 rules, you could run the game. Like that's really that's all it is.
Another thing that I do, and this is a personal thing, Kristen's seen me do it physically. Not a lot of other people do, but like even when we run virtual tables, here's a secret of like whenever we're doing Fallout or whenever we're doing 7th. I have a copy of the character sheet, not my character sheet, but a character sheet. Whenever I'm DMing, I have a copy of the character sheet in front of me at all times because there may be a skill that I'm not thinking of. There may be a skill that exists in the game, but I don't use it very often. Like in Shadowrun, which is like a cyberpunk
Oh my
plus
god. Oh my god.
fantasy.
There's so many
the
different ways to use
magics,
those skills.
but like the magic system and the hacking system have like each of them have a dozen skills.
And you can
assigned
mix
to
them
them.
together with the techno shaman, which kill me, please, whatever. Like,
But-
oh my god.
Yeah, but where I'm going from is like I may
Sorry.
forget sometimes. I may forget sometimes that a mage needs to roll a sensing, and it's okay that none of
Yeah.
you know what that is. But
Yeah.
like a sensing is a very specific thing that mages do, and if I don't remember that, I may have them roll something that they're not really spec'd for because
Yeah.
they built a mage. Mage is a sense, therefore
Right.
you should make them roll a sensing rolls. The only other piece of that sort of ties into the character sheet, but also just the world as a whole is this sounds like an oddly specific thing, but you'd be amazed how often it comes into play. Always know what the mechanics are for how to catch something or someone that is about to fall a lethal distance.
Yes.
Because it comes up. It comes
All
up
the time.
almost every single game I have ever run, whether it's somebody falling off the back of a truck on the interstate, like what
Out of a
almost happened in my Cyberpunk game, what somebody falling out of a vertibird in Kristen's Fallout game, whether it's
Hey, you don't need to
people
worry about
literally
that.
jumping
Chicken
off
Deluxe got that ass.
jumping off the masts of a ship in 7th.
Yeah.
Like people fall terminal distances way
All the time.
more in games than they do in real life. So learning that system, figuring out what that mechanical system is going to save you so much trouble.
And can
Yeah.
I add on to that real fast, Matt?
Yeah. Yeah.
And every time that y'all, like I tell y'all, if you're trying to do some sort of feat in Fallout, I'm pulling up your character sheet every single time. Like that's why I'm like, hold on,
Yeah,
have you seen me
yeah.
do this all the time? It's because I'm pulling your character sheet to see if there's a different combination of something that you would get better chances to do it in. And we can creatively switch it to where you're using, strength and small guns instead of strength and like unarmed or something like that. Like it's always, I'm trying to give you the best options because I, as a GM, which I know that there's a lot of GMs that want to play against their players, but I'd like to play with you.
You should
I
never
wanna see
play
if
my-
against
my
your
son
player.
is one of-
That's-
My son is one that it's like his goal is to party wipe.
No,
yeah,
if you're going to
shouldn't
GM, you do not
against your
play to win.
players. You play to root
It-
all
no,
your
it's fun.
players. You play to challenge
him
your
right now.
players.
I
You
need
play
to
to
talk to
challenge your
him.
players, but you don't want to like actively try to kill them. Like it's just
Yeah.
you want the
And
threat to be
he
there.
phrases it
but-
as he wants to torture his characters.
No.
yeah.
Like
but he's
that's
a kid,
not fair.
but,
Nobody
yeah.
has a good time.
Yeah.
That depends. Because, and then this goes into the storytelling side, not just the mechanical side, but every game, every setting, every anything, they have 3 to 4 kind of tent poles of the setting,
Yeah.
And once you figure out what those tent poles are, you reinforce them.
That's fair.
Cyberpunk is a very brutal world.
Yeah.
Not so much, not like it's not brutal the way that Conan is brutal, because Conan is like there's a giant gorilla, it's gonna beat you to death and rip your arms off.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk isn't that way. Cyberpunk just doesn't care whether you live or die.
Yeah.
There's no vested interest. It's not like 7th where you are the hero and there are very specific scenarios in which you could potentially die.
And that's
I gotta
very
tell you, it drives
specific.
me nuts.
But that's the thing. Some people want to live in that kind of world and be the hard-boiled detective or the hard-boiled whatever. And
Yeah.
that by playing that game, by saying that's the game they want to play, then you serve them by providing that world.
Yeah, and I mean,
Yeah.
that's fine. I'm not saying that that's the wrong thing. I'm saying that like just actively trying to kill players because you want to do it is
No,
the
that
problem.
fosters an adversarial relationship,
No.
and that's
Yeah,
that's
the
toxic
adversary
from the
that
get-go.
that's the best way to put it. Is an adversarial relationship is
Now that-
unhealthy. Yeah.
So I would like to chime in here for a second as probably Kristen, how long you been running games?
2 years, 3 years, 3 years.
Mhm.
Okay, so as the technical newest GM in the room, right? Because I'm only a year and a half in to my GM career. What I did is I picked up a pre-written whatever the fuck it's called adventure
Oh,
module,
Yeah.
right, for D&D.
Mhm.
And I know specifically to D&D, they have the where the fuck is it? Here's my Curse of Strahd book. They have the little blocks that is, hey, this is for the DM's eyes only type of shit, right? Like
Mhm.
this right here. Okay. This is just stuff you read and you can decide whether or not you want to read it out loud or not type of situation, right? And the rest of it is, hey, this is the
Teacher's
encounter.
notes.
It literally is the teacher's notes, right?
Yeah.
And then the
Yeah.
rest of it is, whatever's happening in the situation that pertains to. I read through the entire fucking module of just the quote unquote teacher's notes and then ran like 2 sessions of Wild Beyond the Witchlight, which was the first, that's what we just kind of picked, right?
Mhm.
Because we're going to run Wild Beyond the Witchlight. And then I got to a point 2 sessions in where I was like, okay, I understand how to do this now. I understand how the combat mechanic works from a GM side. I understand all the things that I'm having to do behind the screen now. I understand about how the encounter is built, quote unquote, right? And then I just took that Wild Beyond the Witchlight book and went, yeah, I don't need that shit anymore.
Yep.
And then started borrowing and plagiarizing and creating from the deepest, darkest depths of my own fucking head, and turned 2 sessions of Wild Beyond the Witchlight into a now 1.5 year long homebrew campaign
Yeah.
from fucking chaos that is absolutely 100% more raw dogging its ADD than I am.
Is it the one with the cocaine hamsters?
That is the one with the cocaine space hamster named Brian. Hashtag shout out Brian. I love you, buddy. And so with that right there, for an example, you're going to find yourself in situations where you have to fucking think on your feet, right? And you're going to think, how the fuck am I going to do this? If you just
Like
take your
finding
time-
the airflow of a frog. Or, was it not airflow?
Is
of
a frog? The
Yeah,
aerodynamics of a frog? Yes.
Aerodynamics of frog. That's it.
It's like, I'm pretty
Like
sure
force feeding
Kristen's the only
people?
one that
Yeah.
knows about Brian the spaced out coke hamster, or coked out space hamster.
Spaced out coke hamster. Either way.
Yeah, spaced out coke hamster, whatever. Anyway, the coked out space hamster. So in my campaign, about the time, or probably a couple weeks after Spelljammer released, and I got the source books and I started reading, I was like, okay, this fits with what we're doing. I can work some of this in. Cool, we're gonna start basically traveling to different planes, right? They awaken, they're on the ship, they're docking at the Rock of Brawl. I kind of stole like 3 paragraphs from the adventurer module for Space Jammer, and then once again threw that shit out the window. Got what I needed, didn't fucking need any more. I will fucking fix this and make it awesome.
Yeah.
But my fucking 9.5 foot tall frost giant fucking barbarian, right, is walking down the street, and I just told everybody at random, I was like, hey, everybody roll a d20 for me real quick. Everybody rolls. He rolls a 2. He happened to be the lowest roll. I said, okay, continue. And it was one of those like, what the fuck is he gonna do type of situations,
That's my
right?
favorite thing to do.
And then like 10 minutes later, as they're still traveling to their fucking destination, I said, roll for initiative. What do you mean roll for initiative? I said, well, actually, I need the barbarian to roll for initiative. Well, why just him? Well, because he's initiated combat with the 7-inch tall hamster that's on the ground, who then proceeded to crawl up him and try to stab him in the neck. And when he discovered that the druid may or may not have come into contact with space cocaine, right? But my players at the table kept like feeding into this and making me have to explain something I completely was not prepared to fucking explain and have to come up with on the spot.
When you lie.
Yeah, one of my players was like, all right, well, now that we've spoke with animals and we've had our bard pacify it and talk it into joining our cause as an NPC, what's its name? And I'm like, this was not supposed to be an NPC. This is supposed to be one of you kills a space hamster and then something else happens like 3 sessions later, but fuck, I don't know. And I'm scrambling, and my buddy Brian texts me, goes, hey, as soon as you're done with D&D, call me. I was like, his name's Brian.
So, real quick
Thus,
on the
Brian the coked out space hamster was born.
yeah, another thing as a GM, always like things like that, write it down because it will become canon and your players will remember even if you don't.
Especially
And
if you
it-
don't.
Especially if you don't. Because it's fun for them and it's like, oh, okay, I didn't realize that we were punching Super Meat and making this of the nuts today, but okay, here's where we are.
Matt!
But and another thing I would say as a new GM is be honest with your table. And you guys know that I'm honest with you guys, like, especially like I rely on Joe a lot. Where I'm like, I don't know the mechanic of this. Please help me. If you're honest with your table and you are upfront about not knowing everything, instead of coming in cocky and being like, I am the god of this table, like get them to help you. And
Yeah,
most
I
of
don't
you will
really,
be really
I don't,
cool with that.
yeah, I don't really care. You know what I mean? I'll help. Like it doesn't matter to me. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I
And
think,
I like when y'all help because I learn something too.
yeah.
Well, and I don't
Well-
want to impede gameplay.
Well, I mean, for me, it's like this. Okay, like I don't want the GM to be looking at a book half the session. You know what I mean? I'd rather me look at a book,
Yeah.
and you're constantly engaging the players, because that's just way more fun for everybody. Looking at the book
Oh, yeah.
kills everything.
well, plus,
That's why I take the notes.
Yeah.
well, and another thing,
The
another thing, and this is a play dirty GM trick. Don't learn the rules.
Yeah.
Like know the basic mechanic, like I said.
Yeah.
And because here's the thing. Let's say we're playing a modern day game, right? And Noah has decided to play a like former special forces operator who's learned all the things about all the guns in all the world and all the shit, right?
It's just me.
Wait, I, as the game master, don't have to know shit about that stuff, because what I can do is I can go, hey Noah, what is the difference between a Kodachi VX 964 and a Manahara 984 in the game? And he'll go,
Well,
oh,
number one,
well,
Manahara boys are pussies, and they should respect the 7.62 by 39 millimeter caliber always, because level 4 plates are a fucking thing.
See, and there you
But-
go. You just proved
Because-
his point.
but,
You
no,
just
but
proved
this is the
his
point.
point.
because here's the
Yeah.
deal. The first thing is I go to the person who has devoted the time and energy to learn that section of the game, but also it makes the person playing a special forces operator with all this knowledge of weapons be the guy who talks about all the special forces cool weapons.
Yeah.
And it reinforces his character concept. Honestly, I know shit about warlocks in D&D.
Yeah.
I don't care. The class utterly is disinteresting to me. I don't care. I don't like it. I don't give a shit. It's paladins
Because
and
Matt's
warlocks.
favorite class
it's-
is a bard, by the way.
it's-
Bar
It's
gang.
paladins and artificers for me. But the thing is, I have friends of mine that are deep lore cut nerds about warlock, and they can go into all kinds of shit. And the cool thing is I can rely on them, and then they've got that super secret knowledge that they're not giving to anybody else. Wizards in every game ever, they earn their awesome. They earn their magic, right? They have worked hard to figure out how to pull the fucking truth from the universe to make it turn into fire in front of them. So let them teach
Kill
you that.
everybody in the hallway.
Well, but the thing is, let them teach
Fireball?
you that. And over time, you'll pick up what you need to know about the basics of magic.
Yeah.
But then the wizard seems like the smart one who knows all the stuff. Now, that being said, you never constantly rely on one person to be the sum total of all your knowledge, because then at that point, people start going, well, why is that person the DM? This person can be the DM. And then you're creating problems for yourself. But if everybody is playing a different kind of character, then you can rely on, say, if we're playing a vampire game and Noah knows all the social combat rules and Kristen knows all the physical combat rules and Joe knows all the like political manipulation rules, because those are the characters you're playing, then I can pull to each one of you to your strengths.
And
you
also,
know?
like, there's certain games where you just have to do that. Like Shadowrun, you have to do that. Like,
Oh my
there's no way you can
So
remember all the
much.
rigor rules. Like, the rigger
Right.
has
No.
to know the rigor rules, and they will because they love drones. That's why they play it, because they want that. Rude Quest is the same way. Like, you're not gonna remember all that shit. It doesn't matter because
No.
it's everyone's character is unique.
Well, another really good example is, and it's an even better example in a way, is 7th Sea Second Edition, because in D&D, well, the thing is this: in Dungeons and Dragons, the magic system is unified. Whether you're playing a cleric or a druid or a bard or warlocks are different, but whether you're playing most of the casting classes, they follow the same rules.
Yeah.
7th Sea, every sorcery is different. It follows different rules, and you have
And it's
to
all game
know it.
breaking.
It's all hideously game breaking.
All game breaking.
But well, no, correction. Let me back up, because the John Wick trademark line is, "This looks broken,"
It's
and it
broken,
is.
but it's not.
But let me show you why it's not. So the
God,
thing
that's what
is, as a Porte wizard, as a blood wizard, or as a Vidachan fate wizard, you have to know, like,
Bye, Matt.
No, he's
It's
still
there.
up. I'm just checking to
it
see.
said the host or mod disabled my camera, so
It
I'm just like
should be
thumping
up.
to the beat.
It should be up.
Boom, boom, boom,
Push it
bada,
straight
Joe
down.
said,
boom, boom.
"Fuck
I just
with
want-
Anyway.
Dachi."
It
Well,
should be up.
so I can now start the camera.
You broke
There we
Matt.
go.
Yeah, I
Okay.
wanted
So,
to see if
but-
that was the one that was slowing things down, but stop.
So I'm connected
Well-
via landline cable.
It's probably
so,
me because on this Mac over here.
So
Probably.
the thing is, because each of those things are different, and there's no effort to unify the system, like a Porte wizard, a Porte sorcerer has to know their system, because not only is it they know the information, it's secretive. They don't share it outside of their people. So like, I can't tell you as a, like my 7th Sea character is starting to get tattoos, the tattoo magic, and I don't even know how they work. I just know the game system. I know the mechanical system of how they work. My character doesn't even know how the tattoo magic works, because it's freaking amazing. But yeah, so you rely on the other people in your group to supply the information you don't know. And I think the biggest thing, like, is that it's not life or death. This is literally a game, and people want to play this game. And if they've decided to sit down at your table, they want to play this game with you telling the story. You know what I'm saying? And they will bend reality, unless they are like the game has to follow all rules kind of person. They will.
And you don't want to play with those people anyway.
No,
They will
really
bend
cool,
their,
always.
They will bend their sense of reality to let you continue to be their game master, provided you're telling a story that they can really get into.
Yeah.
If it's an awesome world, whether it's even a licensed world or a homebrew world or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And Jen, my biggest piece of advice
Don't
would
play Bard.
be,
Always play Bard.
number one, always play Bard, because there is no other class worth playing. Number two, my second biggest piece of advice would be just all that shit that you've built up in your head about how am I going to make this work? What do I do if this goes wrong? All the fucking fear and anxiety that you have about being a GM is like, as cliche and as dumb as it sounds. If you can just pull that out of your head and put it to the fucking side and just roll the dice and go, you're going to see very quickly that if you are not afraid to just absolutely fucking go with it, it's gonna work out.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like, you know, fucking bards trying to seduce some shit.
Yeah.
You know, just fucking go for it, right? Because
Yeah.
either A, it's going to hit and it's going to be the most hilarious fucking thing you've ever seen in your entire life. Or B, it's gonna
For the lulz.
miss and you now have the fucking meme at the table and
Yeah.
everybody also has this shared fucking thing. Like the first campaign that I played in, right? We ran the fucking, well, you can't see it because it's all the way up there. The fucking D&D starter set Lost Mine to Phandelver, right?
Mhm.
First game I ever fucking played.
Mhm.
And it starts off and you're on a fucking wagon and you're going through. And for some reason, my group heard the word wagon with certain goods. Now, I don't think that a single one of the 8 people playing at that campaign could tell you a single one of the goods that was on that wagon. But god damn it, we were not letting that fucking wagon out of our sight. We were protecting that wagon at all costs. That wagon was more important than fucking God herself. Okay? The fucking wagon was everything. When we rolled up to the fucking first encounter with the goblin arrows, somebody has to stay and protect the wagon. The DM's like, it's 2 goblins. Why the fuck are you worried about a wagon? Well, because we don't want anything to happen to the wagon. We roll to a cave. Was the cave big enough to get the wagon into the cave? What the fuck do you want a wagon in a cave for? Well, because we have to protect the wagon.
It's our wagon.
And like, that was our wagon. Like, and 100%, like, you know, session 5, our DM's like, motherfucker, the next person to say the word wagon, rocks will fall and your character will die. Okay.
Checker traps my ass.
Okay. Fast forward an entire fucking year since the first time my group heard the word wagon. We're at my house. We're in my campaign. My party is in a jail cell trying to fucking break out, right? They go into a fucking room and the room is completely empty except a fucking wagon. And I mean to tell you that my first fucking session as a GM, because I just rolled the fucking dice and said, you know what? I remember how much fucking shit we used to give Mark over this goddamn wagon. Just because he's at my table, I'm going to use the word wagon just to get under his skin one last time with the word wagon and see
And
what
watch him
happens.
die a little bit.
And these motherfuckers took the bait, and I had to just go, you know what? I didn't prepare for this. I thought this was going to be for the lulz and for the memes. Apparently, this is the goddamn thing. These motherfuckers tried to pull the goddamn wagon out of the fucking prison.
Was it
And
a
it
mimic?
it was a mimic at the end. Of course it was a mimic because it always has to be a fucking mimic. But like I had the wagon. It had been engraved with the words Kelkin's Bane, which was a guy that had to leave the campaign for some personal things, and that was the name of his character, right? And so we're like, oh yeah, that's right. The way we killed his character off was he was protecting the wagon and rocks fell, he died. So, you know, Kelkin's Bane was the wagon. That's what we named the fucking wagon mimic. And it was just, you have to not be, you got to take that whole like fucking pride image bullshit thing and like,
Okay.
and instead of using your front facing camera, use your fucking rear facing camera. Get the big picture and just not worry about
But as game
what
masters,
you're going to look like, what you're going to do, and how they're going to think about you.
but
Just
but as
go for
but as
it.
game masters, we foster that.
Yeah.
Like because you have to. I mean, the thing is, you can't be the narrator and also be untrustworthy.
Yeah, yeah.
So and sometimes it creates problems with players who try to, like, the universe may be conspiring against the players, but you're not, or vice versa.
Mhm.
I think another good rule of thumb is think about it like a TV show. Like if person A shoots person B in episode 2, there's not immediate repercussions to that situation unless, like, the police were already on their way and the police are showing up as they pull the trigger, and then there's bigger problems. But
Yeah,
like,
because the armor is definitely the traitor.
I don't know what you're talking about. But those spikes on her helmet could mean anything. Anyway,
See?
but like, if you think about it, like, well, I was watching John Wick the other night, the first one, and like, so John goes and he gets gas, and the guy is like, "I want your car," and so he kind of ignores it. He goes home, goes to sleep. Like, the situation happened. I want your car. No, you can't have my car. Then John goes home, goes to sleep, and is woken up in the middle of the night by the repercussions of his actions. Right? They go and they kill him. Or they go and they kill all the thing, kill the dog, break everything. They go away. John wakes up like like that morning or whatever, and starts cleaning his house. Like, now the thing is, if you as the game master, if your adventuring party was Alfie Allen and his little Russian gangsters, they don't know what John Wick's doing. They think he's dead or he's taking his beating and he's leaving them alone or whatever. And then they drive the car over to the mechanic shop, right? They're Meanwhile, look at that. The consequences still haven't caught up with them because the game master is going, wait a second, these players just tried to bump off a high level PC who's retired. Well, what am I going to do about this? Okay, what I'm going to do is, instead of just going straight into John Wick jumping in and beating their faces in, I'm going to foreshadow this and I'm going to start scaring them. And what do? They literally bring the car to Antonio or Arturo or whatever his name is, and they're
John
like, "Hey,
Leguizamo.
yeah, John Leguizamo's character," and they're like, "Hey, we need you to take care of this car." And the first words out of his mouth are, "Where did you get that car? Not whose car is it? Not, hey, nice car. Where did you get that car?"
Yeah.
And they're like, "What? I just not you. Whatever. Where does it care? Who does it care? Whatever I get. Blah 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 blah." Now they play through that scene. They decide to leave. The party decides to move on because they've murder hoboed their way into a car. And so what? That they had to kill a dog and they beat up this old dude. Whatever.
Oh,
They go back to a club. And what you do as the game master is you don't end the scene when they leave the shop. You end the scene when they leave the shop, but the camera stays on John Leguizamo as he reaches for the phone and says, "Hey, so and so just came in here with John Wick's car." And then you cut away. You don't even have to explain it. Think about how many conversations you have wrecked somebody with by not finishing a thought.
Mhm.
And the
well,
thing
that's
is,
just like
now the players are starting to worry, like, what? It was just some dude. We just knocked him over. Okay, great. Matt's going to give us a hard time about beating up some old guy. And then that's when the next thing happens, where they go talk to their crime boss, their patron. To use some game systems, use a patron to support your characters.
Yeah.
And the patron beats the shit out of them and is like, "What did you just do?" Like, you don't know what you just unleashed on us.
well, that's like you guys are marching towards whatever in Fort Strong, and y'all look back and see as you're reaching for Maddie because y'all left her
oh,
behind.
wait, sorry.
Wrong one.
No, it's punch him. What?
Nope. You're too far ahead. But sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Matt. Go ahead.
No, that's fine. That's the thing is, one of the things that improved my game mastering tenfold is I think about it like, for some people, they think about games like they think about books, and that's definitely the Ed Greenwoods, Dave Arneson's, Gary Gygax's, the old school.
Yeah.
The old school, they thought about it in terms of fiction and literature and everything else.
Me, but they didn't have a
I'm
reference.
A product of the, I'm a product of the MTV video generation. Like, for me, it is entirely about like if I think about a game that I'm running, like I'm thinking about it like an action film. I'm thinking about it like a TV show. Like, where does the camera stay? If I'm the camera, right? The camera is telling you, the audience, what needs to be seen to tell the story, right? And so, like, that whole thing, what I talked about, where the guys took off, but the camera stayed on the mechanic. You know, you can think about it like that. Like, okay, this is a scene in a movie or a TV show, and this is what I want you to see. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it brings something up, maybe it doesn't, but at that point, it's already in your head. Or if I'm running a chase scene, like I've talked about my Cyberpunk game from a couple weeks ago, they were running a chase scene. In my head, it was the Matrix interstate scene, like because they had people on top of the car, they had people inside the cab, inside the cargo container of the truck. There were motorcycles chasing after him. It was wild. And so by using those same images, stealing ruthlessly from the Wachowskis, but like
Dude,
by
Reloaded
using
so
those
good.
same images over and over and reinforcing those tropes, the Matrix is an incredibly cyberpunk world.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so even if you take out the whole squids and whatever, you just stick to the Matrix itself, the green
Yeah.
screened Matrix itself. It's an incredibly cyberpunk world.
It
And
is.
so you wrap yourself in those tent poles, like I said before, and so long as you keep yourself in that vein, you keep yourself in that lane, like you're gonna make an awesome session, and then multiple sessions together make an awesome campaign, you know.
And
My
I
other
have fucking
advice-
faith in you, Jen.
I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my other advice is find a GM that will mentor you. Like, you know how many hours behind the scenes I've spent on calls and chats and whatever with Matt, going like, "Hey, this is what I want to do. How do I do it?" I'm talking about when I was first learning, Noah. Watch, we're gonna hang
Noah,
up here.
you
and my
were her
phone's gonna ring.
first.
Probably.
Sorry. But like,
No,
like,
I
want.
say that because me and Kristen frequently bounce campaign ideas off of each other
Frequently.
like a motherfucker.
But,
It's
but that's because I
ridiculous.
know the system now and I understand what I want and how it works. So I can actually have a conversation with you before I'm like, Matt, this is what I want to happen. Please show me how. Or, hey, Matt, will you build a character that will take on this goddess, please? Because my characters can't.
Baguette.
And then he builds
Baguette.
he builds Etienne, and Etienne is all knives all the time.
But no,
So-
he's not all knives all the time. That's
All
I think
knives
that's
and cigarettes.
but I think that's an important thing, is like, well, no, because the thing is, Etienne is a character that, first off, Etienne is a min-max character like a motherfucker, but because I was specifically told, hey, can you build a character that can take on a 6-armed goddess, blood goddess? So I was like, okay, I'll work on it. But
Wait, hold on, pause. That was because if my characters in the party did not do what had to be done, she was going to convert into something else that they definitely could not handle.
Mhm.
Which is why he needed to be there, because I knew that they weren't going to be able to get done what they needed to get done.
But into Etienne, I also built things like he's a member of a secret society that believes in freedom of not just the body, but also the mind. So he doesn't like letting his shit be known what he's doing, because he comes from Montaigne, which is a country that does not look very well or
Fuck
highly.
Montaigne.
They don't look very highly upon the secret
Baguette.
society that he's a part of. So he's learned to do a lot of shit on the low, like a lot of things that people don't even know. Because if we haven't even really covered it or sat down and done the math on this yet, but like Etienne has fed I don't know how many fucking peasants, and the group does not know about it. Etienne has bankrolled a revolution and no one knows about it. Etienne has started overthrowing at least 2 governments in the Atabean Sea, and no one knows about it, because Etienne is operating within the constrictures of his secret society, which is like, hey, we're gonna foment revolution from the ground up and don't tell anybody.
Right. But every time you mention that he has a very nice coat, something seems to happen.
Right.
It's a pretty
but,
nice coat.
But he's
pretty nice coat.
min-maxed. He's min-maxed, but the character is intentionally trying to do things outside of what the character was built for. Because the character is built for if the group, because now thankfully we have enough people and they do enough things in that game that ATN really limits playing the mechanics of the game to when it's time to fight, and it's time to fight overwhelming odds and ridiculous odds with no chance of hope. That's when ATN's knives come out, and that's when bad things start happening to bad people.
It just shows that I'm not a GM that's against my players. I'm for my players because I had to build in someone that had a fail-safe for when shit went really, really bad.
Yeah, and that
I-
might happen, but like there's a couple other things with that though. Is that the monster only has as many hit points as you give it.
Right.
So I mean, like,
But I
the
needed
game-
something epic. Like it needed to be
yeah,
a heroic kind of thing that happened.
Because this was early on. This was early on in the campaign.
Yeah, they were way babies.
And also this was, and I'm going to kind of call you out a little bit, Kristen, on this, but
Oh
it was
dear.
it was both early in the campaign and early in Kristen's time game master.
Yeah.
Yes.
So one of the very like one of the third rules you learn is take all the rules and throw them out.
Mhm.
It goes back to playing just the core mechanic, but like Kristen wasn't there yet, and Kristen was reading the adventure, and the adventure says this creature will flatten players, it will wipe the party, it will do these bad things, it is not to be fucked with, you're trying to stop it before it becomes this monster.
Yeah,
right?
that doesn't work. That doesn't
Well,
work.
so
Yeah.
as a game master who's been around for a while, you can finagle that.
Yeah.
And I know better
But-
now, but I had been running like 3 games. Like it was
Right.
not like
So really when she came to me about the character, when I started building ATN for her campaign, it was, I need this character so that if things get bad, ATN turns on and at least gets the party out. And honestly, during the fight when I was fighting the freaking Vishnu Shiva crazy 6-armed blood goddess, 90% of what I was doing was I'm blocking all of her attacks because the character was built to, I could have wrecked her, but I wanted to prolong the game so that they could still feel like, and this goes into me being a game master. I was thinking in terms of a game master of like, I wasn't really playing a character, I was playing an NPC.
Yeah.
Of like, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to make it dramatic and I'm going to give them time to handle the cultists that they were fighting so that they felt like they were contributing, and then get a couple of extra shots in on the blood goddess. You know, I'm going to weaken her enough that they get the kill shot. And then we're getting out of here, you know. But
I also knew I wasn't skilled enough to make that an entertaining interaction without help.
And that's part of it too, is knowing when you need help and just asking. You know what I mean? Because it's kind of a craft, right? Like it's not something you'll be able to do right off the bat. Like there's a lot of stuff that you have to learn, and it's very specific to you. So
Right.
Th-
Which is
this
why
is
I had to
not-
have ETN.
This is not 1987. You have one of these. Feel free to use it.
And honestly,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
I-
actually a big
I
that's actually a
can't-
big thing I want to talk about.
Uh-uh.
Is that older Grognar GMs are not as good as new GMs are a lot of times, because they still play as if it's 1987. They haven't changed at all because they haven't looked. I mean, Matt
What's
has, but
Grognar?
Matt
Well, like
Grognar is just like an old school gamer. It literally
cool.
means complainer in French, but it's essentially like it's an old school gamer.
the Montaigne.
Baguette.
But I mean, a lot of those old school gamers, they're stuck playing the way they played when they were 13, and they're not really looking at new concepts of running games now. And so, like, that's really the big thing, is just like do a little bit of research every now and again and see how other people are playing games and play in tables
Well, like,
other than the one you've been playing in for the last 10 years. You know what I
But
mean?
That
One
was part
point
of
I would
my-
like to make. Who's up, me or you?
You.
It's you.
Okay. One point I would like to make about the cell phone is your fucking friend as a GM, right?
Yeah.
I will tell you for an absolute fact, everybody in this call, minus Jen, has a fucking private messenger conversation with me. Because if my character is interacting with you,
Yeah.
okay, I'm going
No, I
behind.
don't. No.
Yeah, I'm going I'm going underneath the table to tell you, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. What
Wait,
do
what
you
song's
think?
playing on the radio, Joe?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
for
yeah.
perfect example with Joe, like when we were playing in the Fallout game, and my character Lando, who fucking has what's the fucking flight anxiety or whatever,
Oh
Autism.
scared to
yeah.
yeah, has
Autism.
autism and ADD just like me. But like hates fucking aerial vehicles, helicopters, planes, pukes and shits himself if he gets on one. The party is in dire need of air evac. And I had talked with Kristen first. I was like, "Hey, I kind of see where this is going just from a GM point of view." I said, if it's okay with you, I would like to have a funny. Okay, what's your funny? Now, remember, this talk to my GM first, right? Maybe what if possibly kinda if the dice allow it, Lando's like a fucking grade A Top Gun fucking pilot, but also has flight anxiety. And if he has a couple shots, he's good to go, right? That's
A little
all
liquid
me and Chris.
courage.
Yeah, that's all me and Kristen talked about. Kristen was like, "You're rolling for it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, that's gonna be fucking hilarious because you might kill everybody." I was like, "If you're cool with me killing everybody, I'll do it." And she's like, "Fuck it, roll the dice." So 2 weeks go by, we do the thing. Kristen asked me how I'm doing this thing because I magically hit a roll that was high enough to fucking do what I wanted to do. And I'm like, yeah, and I fucking get up there and like in my head I can hear blank song play and I even forgot what the fuck it was, right? And then
Was
Joe
that Fortunate
goes,
Son?
Was it Fortunate Son?
I
It was
think it
Fortunate
was
Son.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
Fortunate Son first. I was like, yeah, and in my head I'm thinking Fortunate Son, red, white, and blue. Anyway, and then Joe says, oh, well, my character has now moved up to the fucking passenger seat in the co-pilot. And I'm like, all right, bet.
The fact
And
that one
I
of y'all
just,
controlled the radio was amazing.
yeah, I just left it at that. And Joe says, I forgot exactly how you put it, Joe, but you were like, I'm like, I hit skip on the fucking radio or whatever it was,
Turn
and
it up to
blank
11.
starts playing, and I'm like, oh, I fuck with that. Facts, 100%. And then I immediately got on my phone and I was like, yo, I need the entire fucking playlist. What is next? All right, cool. We're doing Jimi Hendrix all along the Watchtower. I fucking got you. Watch this.
Like a
And it was
Vietnam
just,
movie. It was just
yeah, it was just dumb. But like at the same time, like with Matt and I have below the table conversations about what Saturday and ATN are going to do. And then after the game's over, we discuss kind of where we want our characters to intersect versus where we want them to intersect with the rest of the party. And then also at the same time, in both tables, the 7C and the Fallout table, Kristen and I text each other constantly during the game.
oh yeah.
And as soon
Hey.
as the game's done, you call her.
Well, yeah, but that's the
Yes.
GM to GM thing that I have
Yeah.
to do. Like, I did it. I do it with everybody's table that I play on. I'm like, as soon as the game's over, I'm like, all right, bitch, here's what we need to talk about. But like with me and Kristen, it's like, okay, hey, this is kind of what I'm thinking I want to happen, and then I'll be like, hey, would it be cool if I attempted to do this? I don't ask, hey, can I? I say, can I attempt? Number one, because there's fucking dice for a reason, so let the fucking dice play it out, right? But at that same time, like the 7C in particular, right, with me and Ragnar chasing the fucking Fae in the maze. We are separated from the rest of the fucking party. I am a, fake Irish bard in this Fey maze. I'm the only one in our group that has any fucking knowledge whatsoever about the Fey folk. And I'm like, I realize the rest of the fucking party has decided to go make peace with the Fey goddess or the Fey queen, whatever the fuck we're calling her. But I need to capture her daughter. And so I text Kristen. I'm like, hey, would it be cool if I went this route? Just me. I don't need anybody else. I'm just going to go do this thing if it's cool with you. Absolutely. That sounds great. And then I announce when it's my turn, Saturday's going back into the maze to go look for the Fae because he knows that some shit is up that the rest of the fucking group doesn't know. And then somebody else in the party goes, I'm going with Saturday. So we've now created this fucking inflection point in the game where the party is now split 100%. And you have the equivalent of dumb, horny, and dumber in the fucking maze. All the smart folks and the combat capable folks are with the Kristen is the mini boss, okay, a term to use for that?
Yeah.
Okay, so they're with the mini boss, and we are off on our own fucking adventure, completely fucking oblivious to what's going on. So there's now a I don't want to say a rift, but there's like, there's some shit that's about to fucking happen. And it all happens because player GM below the table conversation. And I would absolutely encourage that.
So you're telling me you like to be below the table. You're
Uh,
under the table. Got it.
Well, my favorite position is on the table from behind. Never mind. I'm sorry. I did get a standing ovation on the balcony at the hotel this weekend, but that's another story.
Jesus Christ.
And on that note,
It's a
we should probably
really
sign
good thing
out.
my wife doesn't watch this
And
podcast.
on that note, we should be done. No, why don't you sign us off?
Oh, are we done? I thought we had like
Yeah.
3 more topics to talk about.
I mean, we're at about an
kidding.
hour and a half. So,
Well,
yeah.
This has been the Degenerates of Dice Monday Night RPG talk show where we talk about tabletop and all the other fucking bullshit that goes along with it, while you autistic spaz bags get to listen to this autistic spaz bag. So, with that being said, we will see you again Monday night at 8 Eastern, 7 Central. The rest of the time zones don't matter because they're fucking fake, made up, just like the fucking birds. Because that
Funny
shit ain't
agree.
real either. Ladies and gentlemen, for Joe, for Kristen, for Matt, for Jen, for Maddie,
Oh, shoot.
and for this dipshit,
And
good
Brian.
night.
And Brian,
Shout out
And
Brian.
the coked out space hamster, good fucking night.
good night.
Good night.
Carney.